Hello. So it's been a long time, but I am back with probably the final Ringling video. A couple months ago, I graduated from Ringling as a film major, and you know what that means. I can say whatever I want because I ain't back at Ringling anymore. This is senior year, thesis. First semester I had thesis, post-production for junior project, advanced film seminar in production design, and film genre, horror and sci-fi. So I'm gonna get right into thesis just because that's probably what you're interested in. Film thesis has 3 different paths. One is production, one is screenwriting, and one is studio lab. Essentially we work with like brands or directors or whatever to make these projects. I was in the production section of thesis, which most of our class was also in. If any of you are watching this, hello, I miss you guys all. And also if you have any jobs, hit me up. In junior year, we all write scripts for consideration for thesis. You pitch these scripts to the faculty and then they pick ones that they want to go forward with. We did 4 films the first semester, around 12 to 20 minutes. I ended up working on 3 of them. The second one was actually the one that I wrote, and it was called Margaret's Mystics. For that film, I was obviously the writer, but I was also the director of photography. So I shot it, which was extremely stressful, very fun, and a good learning experience because I didn't get a huge chance to shoot a lot of movies, so it was very nice because I potentially would like to do that. Each film had 2 weekends to shoot. That means we were shooting probably around 5 to 6 pages per day. The first weekend for my film was very stressful. Did not go as well as I wish it would. The second weekend was much better and I had a lot of fun. The third film that we worked on was my friend's film. It was called Lois and the Stripping Strikers, and I did production design for that. I made all of these like costumes and I created everything that would be in the story world. So I made posters, I did branding for the bowling alley that it was in. I thoroughly enjoyed that project. It did not go how we expected it because it never does. And then the last film that we worked on that semester was Probophobe, which was also my other friend Josh's film. That one was fun because I didn't have such an intense role. I was the art director, so I worked with another production designer who was like doing the whole vision, and then I helped him. So basically in thesis and production class, you work on crews for all of the films and make them happen, I guess. This is the classroom. Here's the stage. And this is the schedule for thesis. In the class, usually before the films, we did pre-production. So when I was doing cinematography, we went and did lighting tests and color tests and all sorts of other things, especially since we got 2 new cameras this year. We wanted to test them all together. We had the Arri Alexa Mini, Panasonic VariCam, Red Epic. So sort of going along with thesis was advanced film seminar, and there were 2 versions of this class. One was for directing and one was for production design. Usually instead of the directing one, there is a cinematography one, which is originally the one that I know a lot of my classmates wanted to take, but it's okay because I also like production design. They kind of go along with thesis because in those classes you get to work on your thesis project. So in the directing class, they ran through and blocked things out a lot. In production design, I was able to work on the movies that I was doing production design for and also art directing for. So I did a lot of my development work in this class. Like I did some poster designs. I looked through the costumes a bunch and figured out what exactly I needed. I was working on budgeting. I enjoyed that class a lot. Besides that, I also had post-production for our junior project. Since we shot in the spring of that year, we had to edit all of our projects in that semester, which honestly wasn't a great system just because there was so much going on with thesis that like it kind of got put on the back burner, which is unfortunate. I think we still turned out some really cool projects, which is awesome, but it's exactly what it says. You just edit your junior project and making the story work, and that's most of the time in your class, and then you have a couple weeks of sound and color and finishing credits and all that kind of stuff. And then my last class for that semester was my final advanced art history credit. I ended up taking film genre, horror and sci-fi, which is essentially a film history class. Basically every class period is you take some notes, you watch a movie that's horror sci-fi, and you answer questions about it. I think there was a midterm and a final like paper that you wrote about another movie that you watched on your your own. It was good. Over the Christmas break, we shot the second part of a horror anthology that Kevin Smith wrote and directed, and it's called Kilroy Was Here. I worked on the production design department again. We had a very small team. I think, yeah, there were 6 people. We ended up working a lot in pre-production and also during production. We had to make a lot of stuff for that movie. One team worked on a padded cell, which Kevin Smith has posted on his Instagram, so I think I'm allowed to say that. We got to do a lot of like crafts and stuff, which I love. So the week before second semester started, we were filming this movie. Second semester, thesis again, business of film, and location lighting, which is a photography class. Second semester in thesis is all about advertising, music videos, branded content. We filmed a lot more projects this semester, but they were smaller. So I edited a music video, and I also edited an anti-smoking PSA. Those shoots were very fun. I don't know, editing was kind of like a little bit less of a stressful job. Working with the directors that I worked with, they knew what they wanted, so it was nice to get feedback from them, but also they were open to me trying things out. But I did work on most of the projects this semester, so I was kind of like out shooting most weeks. I first AC'd on a commercial for IMG Academy, first ACing for second unit, which was kind of fun. First AC is first assistant camera. I also couldn't see the whole day and I got really bad sunburn, but that's fine. And then I first AC'd again for another project that was an Oreo commercial. One of my friends was DPing it, so it was a good time. And then I did also end up gripping for a project, which was also a music video. So the projects this semester were only one weekend, so you only had 2-day shoots, and also a couple of them, like 2 different projects shot on the same weekend. And smaller crews too. So along with that, we took business of film. Now, business of film, ooh, preparing for a job. We talked to a bunch of professionals in the industry in that class, like over Skype. We also worked on like resumes and writing letters to companies and things like that, which was helpful. But I sat in that class every single day and I kind of was just like, I'm going nowhere. And look at me now. Location lighting. This was my final class that I needed for my photography minor. Every single class you go out and you go to a location and shoot photos, of course. It's portraiture, so it's all people. I really like portraiture, so that was a fun class. It's not a lot of time to like go to a location, take a bunch of photos in groups, and then go back. It was a lot in a short amount of time, but it was really fun and I got some cool photos that I kind of like. I definitely took a lighter schedule second semester just because I knew like a lot of production was going to be happening. We were editing the projects from last semester and also the projects from this semester. We were all in the labs a lot. After we finished all the productions, we had to go into pickups for the previous semester's projects. What pickups are is when there's like a bunch of issues with your film, you gotta go and fix it. We had to write new scenes and then put it all back together in a different way, essentially. All the stories kind of changed a lot, but that also meant that I was very responsible, one, for writing new scenes for the one that I wrote and also shooting them, and then also doing production design for my friend's film. I got to build a room on the stage. There's a giant bug right there. But I got to build a room on the stage, which I actually had never done before because they didn't let us build sets on the stage. It was small and it was new, and so they wouldn't let us build sets. I don't know. We weren't allowed to put flats up, basically, is what I mean. I attached a bunch of fake bricks that the department had. I just had to paint them to like shelves and essentially use them as flats, which, I mean, like, flats would have been easier, but it worked out really good actually, and I think it looked pretty cool. So I made like a whole supply closet, and then for my film we ended up getting to shoot at a bookstore, which was cool. Overall, it was a very, very crazy year, but it felt like it went by like so fast in a scary way because now here I am with no job, no future. Hopefully I have a future. Definitely, without doubt, the best year at Ringling. I got to work really closely with people that I really, really liked. They really cared about what they were doing, and we made some really cool stuff. So, advice that I can give you. There are some things about Thesis that definitely are not fair, just to be completely real, obviously. Different films need different things. The money doesn't always necessarily go into the right thing. If you have everything in advance and you budget everything, honestly, usually you'll get the money that you need for budgeting. But yeah, a lot of drama happens with budgeting. Your teachers are not going to give you things anymore, so if you have questions and if you need help, you have to go ask them. That's not always the easiest for most people, especially somebody like me, because I'm very, very socially anxious. Just go ask because they really want to help. That year isn't as much about a whole class, it's more about if somebody specifically needs something, I'll tell you how to do it. Find the people that you work really well with. When you're on the same wavelength creatively as somebody, stay with them. You'll make some really cool stuff and it's very, very rewarding. It's really, really nice to have an idea and have somebody see the same vision as you. Besides that, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I also have a blog where I post a lot of my school work. I've posted everything up till junior year at this point. Still gotta work on thesis year, but thank you very much for watching. Bye. And just levitate.